As a women journalist, how has been your experience on ground at these protests?
In the initial days, I actually went a lot to Tikri border than to Singhu. There, I saw women, basically making food and everything. But
Mm.
then there were the set of women who were actually was sitting there and talking about it, the laws and everything. They were just not involved in uh, just preparing meals throughout the day. There was this participation from them that was not being covered by as in much. So I had
Yeah.
a couple of bad days
Mhm.
because I'm an independent journalist and I was just walking all alone
Right.
uh, and some at some point of time you feel a bit uh, unsafe
Mhm.
while walking down that road, and then but I met these wonderful women who were protesting, and they were so generous to tell me that they are there for me. So the thing is, when you because I was there to cover the presence of
Mhm.
women farmers,
Right.
and whenever so there's this sense of I don't know how to put it when I'm just sitting with the female
Mhm.
farmer or
Mhm.
a
Mhm.
female protester.
Right.
I, there will be a group of men who will always surround me
All right.
just to understand, just to know uh, what I'm asking them and what they're replying, and they will give their inputs.
Right.
And then they'll tell me,
Right.
the women may not know a lot.
When I went to Tikri,
Hmm.
these women protesters were sitting and they were carrying out the rally. So when they moved and the media came around, these men joined them and they started, like, they stood at the front of that
Yes,
walk.
yes,
They started marching and they were lead. Which
yeah.
was started by the women, sort of look like the men are leading them and the women are following them after point of
Ye-
time. Yeah.
Yeah, because they come with a sense the men has put out this in front that she
Right.
might not be able to tell you correctly.
If I ask you to point out, let's say, two aspects or any aspect in which you think it's more challenging for a female journalist on ground as compared to a male journalist.
I can actually tell you about this
Right.
incident where I was, while I was walking
Mm-hmm.
on that Tikri stretch, there was one random guy
Mm-hmm.
who was, I thought he was a farmer. He was like
Right.
talking with me where I'm coming from, and and then at that point of time, I felt uh, a little unsafe.
Right.
Uh, and I could only tell him to just go, that I don't want to talk to him. And yeah, that incident, because there will be certain elements you don't know who they
Mm-hmm.
are, like who might that be. And it's kind of when they see a woman walking alone through like in the protest
Right.
area, where in a sort of a deserted road where there are only men walking, that made me like a little hesitant when I was even going to Singhu. I felt like I have to reach and I have to make sure that I find a women first who with
Mm-hmm.
whom I can make a connection. I
Right.
cannot just get into the protest side, because there are chances I may have to face a similar thing there.
Do you think it anyway impacts the focus? I also went alone to cover similar kind of incidents which you are pointing out, and I'm walking at Tikri and I'm trying to cover, and guys are randomly walking around and the hands brushing through and here and there, and
Yeah.
they're not even acknowledging. And
Mm-hmm.
after point of time, I felt okay, I want to get out of the space. I felt
Yeah.
I was there to work, but I felt like I couldn't do anything. I
Mm-hmm.
felt very unproductive.
When it happened with me for that time period, completely stopped working. I couldn't gather up myself to work, and in a way I was supposed to do.
Hmm.
So that was like, yes, it does affect your productivity, and it does disturb your mental state. I actually took a day to get over it.
Hmm.
I It happened with me sometime around noon, and I completely stopped the work. I just felt like I have to get out of that place. And then once I recollect myself, then only I can get into the reporting again. Otherwise, for that time period, you need to recover yourself.
Hmm.
Otherwise, you cannot have that kind of enthusiasm, the aggression you had initially went with.
Was there any sort of idea or any sort of story you had in mind you wanted to cover but couldn't execute because of these challenges you are mentioning in any way?
Yeah, I was actually looking for uh, farm laborers, women farm laborers
Hmm.
who were the part of the protest when I was there. So while I was searching for them, I had gone to further area to another stretch.
Okay.
Like it was just like 6-7 kilometers away from the main stage.
Okay.
So the incident happened with me on that stretch.
Okay. Okay.
So that's why I couldn't, get through them, and then
Okay.
I just returned. After I experienced that Tikri uh, twice, I was reluctant to go to Single. Like, oh my God, there are more people over there.
Yeah.
I haven't, and from what I've heard from people, there are not as many women there in comparison to what is there at Tikri.
More women made you feel
Feel
safer.
safer,
Right.
yes, yes,
Right.
absolutely.
Do you feel comfortable discussing the challenges you feel you face on ground?
Yes, I am actually, because of the sort of people I'm surrounded with right now, and also the kind of people I'm working with, my editors and everyone.
Hmm.
So they understand, and they understand that if something like that has happened,
Hmm.
a person would need time to recover from it. You cannot push them to go instantly the other day to continue reporting.
One thing which you hope was different, which probably would have made it easier for you out there to be on ground.
I felt that the kind of discrimination that that sort of gender discrimination we
Hmm.
face even on ground,
Hmm.
that should not have been that should have not been the part of my experience. I don't want to experience it. I want people to uh, acknowledge that yes, there are women journalists who would come and report, and they would do a fair job to it.